Good morning and welcome to Johnston, Iowa and the home of Corteva Agriscience, Agriculture Division of Dow DuPont. I welcome those of you that are joining us wherever you may be today for a very special presentation that we have this morning on agriscience education and agriscience careers. And so this is the foundation of who we are in agricultural education, is the science and math and literacy piece to the things that we do in the applied context of agriculture. So I'm delighted that we're able to do this, especially here at a place that thrives on innovation and finding new ways to help agriculture move forward. So with that, I'd like us to all take a look at what Corteva Agriscience does and is. Take it away, Todd.
Agriculture. It sustains us all and drives what we do. Growing food for tomorrow, and growing tomorrow itself. Hand in hand, enriching lives, never settling, ever. We're growing progress by making every crop, field, farm stronger. We're growing progress by being the most innovative, most inclusive, most open agriculture company in the world. And our new role will bring more innovators to the table. Employees, producers, consumers, the best of the best. We'll work together, not just to meet standards, but to set them. We are Corteva Agriscience, and this is the company we're creating. We're one company. We're leading the way. We're growing progress. Introducing Corteva Agriscience.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the National Teacher Ag Day. Today, we are going to focus on the future of agri-science education. My name is Alicia Smith. I'm the Associate Executive Director for the National Association of Agriculture Educators. For the next 45 minutes, we are really going to focus in on a very important component of agriculture education, and that is agri-science education and careers. Since 2005, we have had a strong partnership with Corteva Agriscience. We have promoted agri-science education, and we've been focusing on developing students who will solve the problems of food, shelter, and clothing in a global world. We are proud of the teamwork that we have put in with agriculture education and Corteva Agriscience. Over the last 13 years, we have really worked together to promote agri-science in our agriculture education classes, and we look forward to many more years of that partnership. As a wise one once said, teamwork divides the task and doubles the success. Today, we will be sharing the success we have achieved here, and to do that with me, our Ag Ed teammate is Dr. Rhonda Hamm from Corteva Agriscience.
Thank you. So welcome everyone to Corteva Agriscience, the Agriculture Division of Dow DuPont for now. Agriculture needs people with a variety of backgrounds, skills, and interests to be successful. As you know, we'll have 9.7 billion people on the planet by 2050. We don't want to use more land. We need to be extremely resourceful with our precious water resources and still provide a reliable, safe, sustainable food supply. Advances in agricultural technology will help us accomplish that, but we're going to need data scientists, computer scientists, geneticists, agronomists, molecular biologists, chemists, entomologists, you name it. We're gonna need all of them plus more, technicians, marketing managers, communication specialists, and above all, teachers, to meet the need, and I'd even go so far as say exceed the expectations for agriculture and the challenges that we have ahead. So thank you for being a part of the solution. Thank you for being here today. And we're gonna move into our career panel. So I'd like to welcome our Career in Agriscience panel to the stage. We have Nina Richtman. Wave, Nina. Hi. Eric Galdi and Carla Taylor. Okay, we'll switch sides. We roll with it here, pretty flexible. All right, so First question. So first of all, thank you all for being here and spending time with us this morning. First question. So tell us a little bit about what your role is here at Corteva Agriscience.
My name's Carla Taylor, and I work in the plant breeding department of R&D here at Corteva Agriscience. I have been part of Pioneer for about 15 years and Corteva for 1 year. My role is really around metrics for our plant breeding programs all across the world, all crops, all geographies, and also resource management.
Eric Aldi with the Agronomy Sciences team, so I'm with the sales and marketing, helping support our field agronomists, product agronomists, and our sales force in the field. So everything from the trials that we do where we collect data on our new products across the world, and also here in North America with the UAV drone flying and training that we're doing here at Corteva Agriscience.
Hi everyone, I'm Nina Rickman, and I work in a group called R&D Excellence. And this group works with all of the scientists around the world to get learning and development opportunities. So we work on a variety of different programs, and the area that I work in specifically is science communication. So getting our scientists trained on how to talk to the public about science is one of the areas, so that's one bucket. My second bucket that I work on is recognition. So internal recognition, awards that we might have that are internal awards, external recognition, so community awards, society awards, those type of awards. And then the third part is patent recognition. So the recognition area, and then I also work on any other sort of projects that are internal that might provide a development opportunity for scientists.
Hello? Yes. Hi, everyone. Again, just making sure the mics work. Check, check. Okay. So next question for our panel. What really inspired you to be engaged in agriculture in the first place?
I'll go first. I was raised on a farm, but kind of. So my parents didn't farm. I lived on my grandparents' farm. My father worked at a seed production plant for a different company, and my mom was a science teacher, and I think those two things probably instilled that pretty early. I was a very big participant, active participant in 4-H and FFA, and then went to Iowa State. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was undeclared, but ag undeclared, and from there I found science and agronomy and genetics and seed physiology. So also I just had the opportunity to do a lot of travel abroad while I was in college that was sponsored through the ag education department as well as companies, agricultural companies, and just seeing the real problem when we hear that 9.7 billion people. It's real, and being able to see that, I think, is why I come here, and always with the goal to feed the world.
I grew up on a small dairy farm in central Wisconsin. My dad's actually a first-generation dairy farmer, so we moved out from Pennsylvania out to Wisconsin when I was young and started a dairy farm in the area. So that was kind of my first real-life kind of experience with being in agriculture. Then it solidified as I got into high school. I had a really good ag education instructor when I was in high school. Really encouraged me to do things that were, off the farm. So I was an individual that my senior year, I was in high school. I was spending more time working at the local co-op as part of an apprenticeship internship program than I was actually in classes. So I really took a lot of those advantages that were presented at a young age and started really trying to get that hands-on experience. College, went to University of Wisconsin-Platteville. I spent 2 summers here at that point it was Pioneer through their internship program. I was actually part of the research team back then as an intern, and that kind of gave me my experience with what Pioneer had to offer to young adults as we were graduating college and getting into the workforce.
So my story is a little different. I did not grow up on a farm. I grew up in the city. I grew up in St. Paul. And I went to college thinking that I wanted to study biology because I always liked science classes in high school. But I really had no idea beyond that what I was going to do with it. I thought, maybe wildlife biology, mammals seem interesting, and I realized pretty soon into college that a lot of people wanted to study wildlife, and there were not a lot of jobs in wildlife. So I happened to take an entomology class in college, and it was a very interesting class, and I had never thought of doing a career with bugs. Yet there seemed to be a lot of opportunities with bugs, and it was still wildlife. It was just small wildlife, and it was everywhere. And so that's how I got into entomology. I decided I was a conservation biology as an undergrad, and then I decided to go to grad school for entomology. And it was a really excellent decision because there are a lot of jobs in entomology. I still at this point was not completely focused on agriculture. It's just when I went to look for funding for grad school, a lot of the positions were agriculture related because there's such a need there. So for me, it was a great fit. I went to grad school, studied insect-plant interaction, and after that, well, one thing I should say about that is in grad school, or for that project in grad school, it was funded by Pioneer. And so it gave me the opportunity as a grad student to be able to come to this campus and do some projects and work with some scientists here. So in terms of thinking about career, that cemented my interest in working in agriculture and working for a company like Pioneer because I had the opportunity to do just a little bit of hands-on work here, and it was really interesting and it was a good opportunity. At this point, I would say agriculture is a great fit for me. Even though I didn't grow up with agriculture, I'm always interested in food and interested in food systems, interested in, again, the biology and the wildlife. So it's a great combination. And so I encourage you, as you're working with your students, just anybody can get into agriculture. You don't have to grow up with it to get into it. There's such a need. We have all kinds of jobs in it, and I, as a city kid, I don't know that I would have thought agriculture, but that's where my path led, and it's been a really interesting area to get into.
So Nina, I'm going to put you on the spot since you kind of opened a door for me there. So
yes.
If you were a ag teacher looking to target those students that maybe don't see themselves in agriculture, what advice would you give? Told you I was putting her on the spot.
Well, I think I would give the advice of try it. You know, just learn a little bit about it, take one class in it, join a club, do an activity, just try something with it and see what you think. I think it would be a good message to biology students because I think there's a lot of people that are interested in biology, but you don't realize the concepts can be really applicable in a system like agriculture. So probably that would be my message, is just give it a try, see what you think.
Perfect, thanks. So I'll ask the rest of you too. What advice would you give to youth that are interested in working for an agricultural company like Corteva Agriscience?
It's like one of the key things is getting that hands-on experience. You can learn a lot by books, sitting in the classroom, but until you're actually out in the field, whether it's somebody that wants to do sales and you're actually out there scouting fields, having those customer interactions, there's only so much you can learn from textbooks. So getting them started at a young age while they're in high school and as they enter college, they really need to take advantages of those internships and apprenticeships as they're moving through, and encourage them to step outside of their comfort zone. That was one thing that my ag teacher did, was really kind of set me and said, do you really want to do, focus on dairy, or is there a lot of other things out there in agriculture that really you have more of a passion for? So as I got through high school and either graduated from college, my career went in a different direction than I thought it did when I was in high school and college. I didn't think I'd be doing a lot of stuff with this technology. I sit in rooms sometimes with people who used to work for Microsoft and NASA and having conversations with them, and they understand a lot of the technical. We're trying to grow crops in computers now through this whole computer modeling stuff, and my background helps explain to them what they need to know about, okay, yeah, I know the model tells you X, Y, Z, but that ain't going to happen in real life. So something's wrong. We got to figure out what happened in the model to make the corn grow in 5 days. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, it's as you get in the workforce, as you're going through this experience, you're going to have that mixture as we get in this agriculture industry of people that know the hands-on stuff, that really grew up on a farm or grew up in the industry day to day, and you're going to have other people that are going to know more of that technical, that more, I'd say, engineering aspect, and they're going to be able to work together as a larger team to really help us grow the food that we need on a limited land mass to feed the world population.
5 minutes? I got to go quick. Okay.
You can take all 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I would say my answer is kind of three-part. I think when I think back to being in my ag education classes and FFA, the thing that was appealing to me, like, we learned about pigs and ear notches and those kinds of things. And to me, what really drew me in was the leadership and the speaking contest and being able to meet people from all over. I met, I went to, at the time it was called WLC, Washington Leadership Conference with FFA, and I met potato farmers from Idaho and people from California who weren't sure why they were in FFA, but they were there, kind of thing. And I think just being aware of all of the different things that are there and building on those leadership skills and those activities, whether you're going to be CEO or whatever, those don't hurt you going forward to have those leadership skills and to be kind of a self-starter on projects and know what it takes to do that. The other things, I would say, not to plagiarize Steve Jobs, but be curious. Like, there is so much out there. For me as a kid, I was from a smaller school. I didn't know what was out there, and that was my argument to my parents when I didn't declare a major was, how can I know what I don't know yet? Like, I don't know what's out there. And so I think, ag educators and everything are really good at instilling that curiosity or playing on that curiosity to get kids to look out and see what's going. And then be flexible. I went to school in seed physiology. I worked on seed dormancy of eastern gamagrass for my master's thesis. Very riveting. And it was riveting, but it wasn't because I was going to become a gamagrass producer or even, as it turns out, I didn't know that at the time, somebody who works in seed dormancy. But I was answering questions that were important to agriculture and important to producers and things like that. So my own career here I started out in physiology research. I'm like, this is what I went to school for. Tire meets the road. This is it. I spent 1 year and 7 months there and found another role here that was in software development. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be in that. And I ended up spending 6.5 years in that department and in that role, and I learned so much about the whole process at work, as well as more about agriculture even. And so just being flexible and curious about what those things are out there that is a little bit of long ways from ear notches on pigs. So, and I know that's not all that's taught there, but I just think there's a lot of opportunities out there that everybody needs to be willing to take advantage of and be willing to present to their students and teach about.
So what's one piece of advice that you would like to leave with everyone today?
You going first?
I can. The advice I would give you is just keep promoting agriculture and keep giving students a variety of opportunities that introduce them to just the various aspects, and please keep letting us know what we can do as a company to support you, because your students are our pipeline for great talent. And so we want to make sure that, there's the right tools and the right resources, opportunities, internships, chances like this to come visit. So please just keep communicating with us, because what you do is really important, and your students are our future employee base.
So it's really pushing the students to kind of think outside the box and pushing them into kind of some areas that they may be a little uncomfortable. That's a lot easier to do when they're in high school. And it really helps set them up as they go into college and they start having a lot of different opportunities. And then when they get into those, job markets. So those things of, have you thought about traveling abroad? Have you thought about going and spending time in different areas of the country when you are young, so that you can learn more about the agriculture industry and not just where you locally grow up?
I would say keep building on what you're doing. You're really great at educating students about agriculture. You're really great about learning about agriculture. And we need to elevate that conversation. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us in agriculture, in the food industry in general. And so I think as long as we have more people out there with more education about these topics and not be shy about it, just keep helping to educate others around us about it. And so just do what you're doing and take it up 3 or 7 notches.
Reference back to the ear notches. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
So please join me in thanking our career panel for today. So at Corteva Agriscience, we're lucky to have so many employees that have been inspired by agriculture and their agricultural educators. So our partnership with the National Association of Agricultural Education, or educators, has allowed us to expand the opportunities to all students and teachers across the nation through the many teacher programs we sponsor. And we're a very proud sponsor of that, and we thank you for all the work that you do. To share more information about agricultural education and teachers is Alicia Smith, the National Association for Agricultural Educators Associate Executive Director.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Hamm. As I mentioned earlier, Corteva Agriscience has been a proud sponsor of not only agriculture education, but teachers for the last 13 years. We know that all of us in this audience here and hopefully out there know that by touching a teacher and investing in a teacher, you're investing in every student that walks in their classroom for the rest of their career. And so today I have 4 teachers with me that have had a great career so far and still have many, many, many more years, right? Some of us. But yeah, we're not letting them leave. But these teachers here are individuals that have really been able to be a part of some of the programs that Corteva Agriscience has sponsored over those 13 years. And they're going to talk about how that has worked for them, how that's worked in their classroom, and share with you a little bit about what they're doing. If you guys would, if you'll go through and introduce yourself, tell us where you're at, and some of the things you do as far as teaching in your classroom.
All right, I'm a retired ag teacher, and after doing that for 30 years, I moved to the university. I work at Murray State University in Murray, Kentucky, and I work with the ag teachers there, our ag students there, and I also work with dual credit in agriculture, and I deal with about 120 high schools right now and about 1,000 students that I help manage.
Name?
Oh, I'm sorry, David Black.
Just like a teacher, we got to keep everybody in line, right?
Yes. My name is Kelly Becnel, and I am from Walker, Louisiana. I've been in the classroom for 13 years. I'm a graduate of Louisiana State University. And 3 years ago, I was fortunate enough to be accepted to the National Agriscience Teacher Ambassador Academy. And I will talk about that in a minute, but I will tell you that that program absolutely changed my life as a teacher, and I owe my career to that program. So a little bit about our school. We are a very large school. I teach roughly 100 kids a day and in 3 classes, and we're on a block schedule. And the kids that I have are from non-traditional ag backgrounds, so they don't know much about agriculture. They don't know where their food comes from, the clothes on their back. So I get to share the light and tell them about the great opportunities the FFA has to offer, and that agriculture is a ginormous career that they can be a part of. And so I've thoroughly enjoyed my job as an ag teacher, and I'm a product of the FFA, so this has been in my blood since high school.
My name is Mathew Eddy. I teach agriculture at Southeast Polk High School, just outside of Des Moines here. And it's a fairly good-sized Iowa high school, about 2,200 students. And we focus mainly on agriculture or animal science. We teach 4 different case courses: AF&R, Animal Science, Plant Science, and the Biotech Course. And we also also work with Iowa State Fair doing an animal learning center during the state fair all the time. So enjoying being here, and this is my 20th year teaching.
Hi, I'm Jaisa Fillmore. I teach at Kaja High School in Burley, Idaho, and my students are watching, so hi. And this is my 10th year teaching high school agriculture. I started this program at the alternative school in an effort to bring agriculture to students that are sometimes underserved and overlooked. And we have an FFA chapter. Students get to travel and do things, and we also raise rabbits on campus and have greenhouse and garden opportunities as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys, and welcome. And we'll be hearing from Jaisa a little bit later, too, so we're excited about that. As you guys know as educators, the buzzwords are everywhere in education. One of those has been inquiry or inquiry-based learning. And the focus from Corteva Agriscience over the last 13 years is being able to bring that to agriculture teachers across the nation through different programs. Tell me about, let me get my question out here. I must be getting old. Maybe I'm older than what I thought I was. What does inquiry-based teaching mean to you, and how has it changed your teaching?
Well, inquiry-based instruction completely transformed the way that I teach. I used to be the teacher that would stand in front of the room and lecture as the subject matter expert, expecting my kids to absorb everything I told them because I knew that they were all listening to every word I said, and they were going to remember it when it came for the time for the test. But it has transformed my teaching from being teacher-centered to completely being student-centered. My students are in charge of their learning. They ask questions. I may give them a general topic that they have to look at, and they narrow that topic down to a specific subject or a specific question that they develop, and then they do the research on that question and come up with an answer to the question that they have looked at. And they have to justify that answer with their peers. And so it has taken the learning from me being as a subject matter expert to making my students the subject matter expert. They are in charge of their learning. They are asking questions. They are diving deeper into the material than they've ever done before. I am less stressed as a teacher, which is very important because teaching can be very stressful. But I have put everything on my kids, and I'm there to help those that need more assistance. My straight A students are able to go farther and engage in the learning even more. And my students that need more help, I'm able to assist them and get them where they need to be. It makes them accountable for their learning, and it allows them to invest themselves into their education, and they feel like they are part of something bigger because they're in charge of what they want to know. And so it's really transformed me as a teacher to be able to implement classroom management techniques and fun ways to bring about the learning to my kids and allow them to take a step forward and show ownership for themselves and in their learning. It has been life-changing for me. It has been career-changing for me. And more importantly, because of the training that I've had, I've impacted hundreds of students in the last several years as a result.
And some pre-service teachers here this week, too, as well.
Yes, and I love doing that.
Anyone else want to share?
I think that when I went through the inquiry training in 2005, it was career changing for me as well, and more importantly, it was changing for my students. I remember starting school that year, and my students would look at me and say, "What happened to you this summer?" And so they saw the difference, and then they went out and told their teachers the things that we were doing in ag that they should be doing in other subject areas. And so when I got the opportunity to be able to go out and then start training other teachers and teach them how to teach inquiry-based was important for me, because I knew for me it made a difference, and I've been teaching them for 20 years plus, and if it made that much difference in my life, I could imagine what it making these pre-service teachers or the teacher that is getting to the burnout mode. It changes those careers, and to see that across the board, across the nation every year is very rewarding.
So I have an example. This week I was teaching my 10th graders in ag biology about photosynthesis and respiration, and we took notes and we watched a video and we did an online virtual lab, and then we actually got snails and elota and test tubes, and we actually did a lab in class where they had to come up with a question that they were testing and figure it out. And I asked them afterwards, which part of this lesson, we did all these things for you to learn this topic, and which part helped you understand the best? And they said doing it, seeing it, hands-on. And that's what I think inquiry is all about, is giving students opportunity to touch things and see things in real life.
Well, one of the things that we saw emerged once inquiry-based became very popular in agri-science and agriculture education was our curriculum for agri-science education. And, right off the bat, Mathew Eddy was an early adopter of CASE, and I will say that. And so for you, Matt, how is CASE and inquiry-based learning, what are the positive attributes you're seeing from your students now that you're fully engulfed in CASE and inquiry-based learning?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what they brought up earlier, and CASE, as it sets up the inquiry-based, I think really it boils down to me is it's teaching students how to think and teaching them how to solve problems and go out into an uncertain situation where there is no right answer. There is no, this is what I told you to tell me yesterday that you're going to now regurgitate to me tomorrow. I mean, there is no solid base there, but it has to be worked into a problem that has many facets to it. And it's a lot like solving world hunger. There's no real one right answer, but there's many answers. And as soon as you start to answer one, that brings up others. And so you have to start thinking across multitudes of different levels that they need to start thinking about, well, okay, if I solve this, now I have this problem that crops up that we're gonna have to work with. And so again, it teaches kids to kind of go through those thought processes. And again, it's engaged them at a level that I haven't seen since I started teaching. And I was kind of the same way of, teaching from the front of the class and, here's what you need to tell me tomorrow. And once we kind of shifted that mode when we started with CASE, it really changed what the students are doing. They leave the class tired. I leave the class excited. And so that's much better for me, that's for sure.
I've always heard someone say that if you leave the class, your kids should be tired and you should still be able to play a round of golf. So.
There you go. That would definitely work out. So it's been a great thing. It's again focused my pedagogy into a more hands-on and again accurate way. The thing for me when I was looking for it was we wanted to integrate science into agriculture and to bring that science credit, accreditation and that sort of thing. And CASE was what I was looking for when I didn't know what I was looking for. And it kind of solved those issues. So it brings in all the science and math standards and English standards. And so students can then say, well, yeah, I'm applying what I've learned somewhere else, or I'm applying it here. And every once in a while, we'll be a day or two ahead of science. And so my science teachers get tired of hearing, oh, we did this in ag last week. So
that's great. Awesome. Well, as we know, there is a huge focus on inquiry-based, but there's also a huge focus on agri-science careers because we want to create the pipeline to companies like Corteva Agriscience and all the other agri-science companies. So how do you showcase agri-science careers and incorporate readiness in your classroom?
So a lot of my students are not college bound, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I am a huge supporter of giving students opportunities to get an education through careers. So if they go work for a company that will provide money for them to go get specialized training, that's what I'm constantly talking to my students about. I'm teaching right now a class called STEM in Agriculture, and every week on Thursday we've taken a field trip around town to local companies and businesses that can tell students and show students what careers that they are involved in, what careers are available to my students. So this is Thursday, and this is their career field trip today. They're watching, and so the most important thing, though, is to show students those careers. And then the way that I help prepare students for career readiness is to treat the classroom like a job, treat school like a job. I have high standards for my students in their dress, in their conduct in the classroom. They'll tell you that if they say a swear word, they have to do push-ups. So that helps their brain remember that they don't do that in a professional environment, which is what school is. And we wear uniforms at our school, which helps teach students what it means to dress professionally. We talk about saying please and thank you, shaking hands when we go out in the community. I think all of those things can be done and are done in every single agriculture classroom. And the employers in our community will tell us that when students are in ag and in FFA, they see it on the other end when they go to hire those students.
So in my biotech course, the CASE biotech course, students will spend 1 day a month in the spring and the fall job shadowing with Kemen here in town, and they get to involve themselves and immerse themselves in a lab environment in the industry, and they get to apply all the things that they've been learning in biotech into a real live situation. And they get to rotate through different aspects of what they're doing, and it's just phenomenal because the kids come back and they tell me about all the things that they've gotten to do. And it's not just a, hey, watch us. I mean, they're in there doing it, and that really drives the point home to them that, hey, this is something that people really do in the real world.
You know, one of the things that I do every day is I greet my students at the door and I shake their hand every day, and they have to look me in the eye and they have to tell me hello. And as a teacher, I get to see who they are that day, you know, or they having a rough day or whatever. But in the long run, it's teaching them how to have people skills, have communication skills. A lot of times they come in my room and they don't even know how to shake hands. By the time they leave, they know how to shake hands. And that's one of the first things I tell my kids is that when you go to meet a future employer, you have to be able to have those skills. And so by teaching those skills in the classroom and treating our classroom as a job, holding our kids to higher standards, teaching them those soft life skills, more or less, to make them successful in a career, an agricultural career, and exposing them to all of the opportunities in agriculture to get a job, we are providing the foundation, because our job as teachers is to provide them and train them to be successful adults. And by teaching these life skills, we are doing that. And that's just embedded in my program. Nowhere in the curriculum does it say that I have to stand there and shake their hands and get to know my kids. But because they are my kids for an entire year, possibly 4 years, I feel like I'm invested in them and that I need to make a difference in their life every day. And when I'm shaking their hands and I can tell that they're having a rough day, you know, I can meet them where they are. And when they're having a great day, we can share their success together. And I will share with them, look, I understand you're having a bad day, but remember, we're at work. And they have to, you know, put all of those feelings aside, and they have to work. So I think that, you know, I may not have the opportunity to put kids in a real job. My classroom is their job for their 90 minutes that they're with me.
I think that since I work at the university level now, we see directly what local ag teachers are doing. And so when those students come to us, they're already trained in that area. They know how to meet people. They know how to carry on conversations. They know how to get up and give speeches. Just the other day, I was at Webster County High School. I think they're watching right now in Kentucky. And their employability skills class, they were in there, and they gave me the opportunity to talk to them and answer questions. And I was so impressed with the type of questions these 17-year-old students are asking now. And so they're already thinking about what they're going to be doing after high school. And I think that's one part that ag teachers do a really good job at. And FFA takes that one more step and really allows students to have that opportunity to prepare for that workforce.
Awesome. All right. So we have one more question. Is that okay? All right. You know, what is the biggest change that you guys have seen over time in agriculture education? And, you know, how is that preparing them for, like, the post-secondary or the career readiness?
I think for me, since I've been in this for a long time,
I
thought about that question. And, you know, earlier the speaker talked about, you know, in ag, you talk about production ag. So you taught those skills that your students were going back to the farm. And I come from a very small community, but very few students are going back to the farm. And I've seen the transition to Agriscience, and I've seen the transition to global, international ag. And at the collegiate level, it's the same way. You know, there are production type classes, but everything is precision ag and dealing with drones and the technology that's out there, and it's changing every day, and it's hard to keep up with it. But students are excited, and students coming into ag know that they have a job in the end, if they can get their degree, they have a job. There are plenty of jobs out there. So that has changed tremendously. And that's why we're getting those non-traditional ag students to come in, because they know the jobs are there.
And I've been in the business for 13 years as a teacher, and then I was a product of the FFA. So in my shorter time in ag education and the FFA, I have seen it transform from not near as much technology. I mean, I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16, so they were just coming out when I was in high school. So now it has become so technologically advanced that it's amazing to think about the potential careers that even my children at age 8 will have in agriculture. And so even at my school, we have a drones program, and for them to be able to, they don't think they're going to have a job in agriculture, but they will have a job in agriculture. That hasn't even crossed their minds yet. So to think about the potential and how far it will go from here on out, it just blows my mind. So the Agriscience, the cool thing about Agriscience and the FFA is that we have transformed with the times. We're not, yes, we may have been around since 1928 and 1917 with vocational education, but we have changed with the times, and our kids are ready and prepared for those careers. And it's because of ag teachers and their investment in the kids as to why they are successful. So I know that we will continue to transform with the times and grow with the technology and the advancements and improve production agriculture, which was the foundation for all of this in the first place.
Is there anything else you guys want to share before we end our time together today?
My just last message again is that there are many paths to success, and there are many types of people that we need in agriculture, and college is not the only way. I certainly encourage higher education, but know as future teachers, as employers, that students that don't go to college can be just as valuable as students that do.
Certainly.
You know, as a teacher that has been blessed to be a part of such an amazing program and partner with agriscience companies such as Corteva that invest in teachers, it's amazing to think that, you know, our jobs as teachers, and I've said it 3 times already, is to invest in our students, but we can't invest in our students if we don't invest in ourselves. And Corteva Agriscience has provided that opportunity for us as ag teachers to be able to continue to make a difference in our students' lives, but also, just like I got to do this week, to make a difference in pre-service teachers' lives. And just, if you think about it, the numbers just continue to multiply. So that impact is far more than just a few hundred. It's hundreds of thousands going into millions of kids and people in general, and it's saving ag teachers' careers, it's preventing burnout, and it's providing such a great opportunity for everyone involved to continue to be invested and grow as an individual and hit those productive struggle moments and have those aha moments as teachers and continue to do what we love, and that's to teach agricultural science to our kids.
Well, thank you guys for coming all the way to Des Moines and just down the road, Matt. Thank you, and if you guys would, thank our teachers for their panel today. Thank you.
What an inspiring group of educators. Thank you for what you do, honestly. We would not have the company that we have today without you starting with our employees first. So we're obviously excited to have you here today to celebrate agriculture and the power our agricultural educators have. If you're a student today, thank you for taking an agriculture class. If you're a student today, I'd like you to stand up. Wherever you are around the country, stand up right now, including in this room. If you're a student, please stand up. Student of any sort, I want you to stand up. I want you to find your agricultural educator or an agricultural educator and face them. So we've got wonderful ones right here in the front row. And I want you to start to clap. Everybody clap. Loudest clap. This is the standing ovation that we should be giving our educators every day for what they do. I know that they're often the unsung heroes of our industry. And so thank you. We wanted to make sure that you had the standing ovation that you so deserve. So I'm going to turn it back over to Alissa to close out this session.
Thank you. Well, you know, as you've seen, teamwork makes the dream work, okay? And that's amazing to be able to be on a team with such great sponsors, whether it's Corteva Agriscience or it's another sponsor for our NAAE programs. We're making the dream of agriculture education all across the U.S. work. And we're very proud of our partnerships together. We're proud of that we're creating students that are solvers. They're solvers. They're going to be the ones that solve the problems of the world. And we're excited about that. And we believe, obviously, we're a little biased at NAAE, that there is no better investment than investing in teachers. So thank you guys today for being a part of the future of agri-science education. We were very excited to share with you. Thank you, Corteva Agriscience and Dr. Rhonda Hamm, for being a great teammate. Thanks.